Prince Anishi, the Prince and the Pauper. Chapter 3. Tom's meeting with the Prince. On that day, Tom got up hungry and went away hungry. His thoughts were full of his night's dreams. His usual dreams about palaces, kings, and princes. He went along the streets, but he did not see where he was going. He took one turning, then a second one, and then he walked straight on and on. By and by he came to the square in the center of the city. There he saw Westminster, the king's palace. He had always wished to see a king's palace. Here was the king's palace. Could he hope to see a prince now, a real prince? At each side of the gates stood a guard. There were many men, women, and children standing around the square. They hoped to see the Prince of Wales or some other member of the royal family. Poor little Tom in his rags came up to the gates. Suddenly he saw a good-looking boy through the bars of the gates. He was beautifully dressed. On his head he had a bright red cap on. He was a prince, a living prince, a real prince. Before Tom knew what he was going to do, he put his face against the bars of the gates to have a better look at the prince. He was going on shore. He took one turning, then he walked straight on and on. Он свернул на одну улицу, затем пошел прямо, не сворачивая. Вестминский дворец, бывшая резиденция королей, ныне здание парламента. He had always wished to see, он давно хотел увидеть. Against the bars of the gates, к решетке у ворот, get out of here, убирайся отсюда. Long live the Prince of Wales, да здравствует принц Уэльский. The next moment, one of the soldiers gave him a blow and pushed him away from the gates. Tom fell down. The soldier said, "Get out of here, you young beggar." The crowd that stood near the gates laughed, but the young prince jumped to the gates. His face and his eyes were angry. He cried out, "How can you do that to the poor lad? Open the gates and let him in." The crowd shouted then, "Long live the Prince of Wales." The soldier opened the gates, and Tom in his dirty rags passed in. Edward Tudor said, "Poor lad, you look tired and hungry. Come with me." The prince took Tom to a rich apartment in the palace. He called this room his cabinet. He ordered one of his servants to bring Tom something to eat. For the first time in his life, Tom saw and ate such food. Then the prince sat nearby and asked questions while Tom ate. "What is your name, lad?" "Tom Canty, sir." "Where do you live, Tom Canty?" "I live in the city, sir, in Awful Court." "Awful Court? I have never heard about this place. Have you parents?" "Are your parents good to you? Твои родители к тебе хорошо относятся?" "Do your sisters not let their servants smile either?" Твои сестры тоже не позволяют своим слугам улыбаться? "Yes, sir, I have parents. I also have a grandmother and twin sisters, Nan and Bet. I don't love my grandmother. I can't forget her beatings." A terribly angry look came into the little prince's eyes, and he cried out, "What, beatings?" "Yes, sir, she beats me very often." "How can she beat you?" "You are so small and so thin. I shall order to throw her into prison for that." "Are your parents good to you?" "My father is not, sir, but my mother is very good to me. And my twin sisters are like her." "How old are they?" "They are 15, sir." The prince said, I have sisters and cousins too. Lady Jane Grey is my cousin. Lady Elizabeth and Lady Mary are my sisters. Lady Elizabeth is very nice, but Lady Mary is not. She does not even let her servants smile. Do your sisters not let their servants smile either? They also do think that they have servants? The little prince looked at the little pauper for a moment, then said, And why not? Who helps them to dress in the morning and undress at night? Also, nobody does. Do you think they take off their dresses at night and sleep without clothes like the beasts? Stood side by side before a great mirror. Стали рядом перед большим зеркалом. «О, Лук, послушай, who took him for Tom, который принял его за Тома? It was because of you that his highness got angry at me. Это из-за тебя мне досталось от его высочества». But have they only one dress? Of course, sir. They do not have two bodies each. They have only one body each of them, so they have one dress. The prince laughed. Oh, excuse me, please, but now I'm going to help them. Soon your sisters will have many dresses and many servants, who will help them to dress and undress. No, don't thank me, it is nothing. You speak well, lad, your speech is correct and beautiful. Where did you learn? The good priest that is called Andrew taught me, and gave me his books to read, said Tom. But tell me more about your awful court. Is your life hard or pleasant there? The prince asked again. It is hard when I'm hungry, sir, but it has many good things when I'm not hungry. We lads of official court play together many different games. We fight to see who is the strongest. We run to see which of us is the fastest. How wonderful! Tell me more. In summer we always have a good time near the river. We swim in the river and we fight in the water and laugh and shout. Speak on, said the prince. Tell me more about your life. When the weather is fine, we dance, sing and play in the sand, and we cover each other with it, and then jump into the water again. It's wonderful, said the prince. I'm ready to give my crown for a day like that. Look, lad, shall you give me your clothes and put on mine for some time so that I can go to awful court and have a good time that you have there? A few minutes later, the little prince had Tom's rags on, and Tom put on the prince's royal clothes. The two went and stood side by side before a great mirror. Oh, what was that? They looked at themselves in the mirror for a long time and were surprised. Then they looked at each other and then at the mirror again. At last the prince said, What do you think of this? We look like twins. We have the same color of our hair, the same color of our eyes. You have the same face as I. If we undress, nobody will say which of us is the Prince of Wales and which is Tom Canty, a beggar. Oh, look, what is this? The prince pointed to Tom's hand. What is this bruise? Is it because that soldier gave you a blow? Yes, sir, but it is nothing. Say no more. Stay here for a minute. I'll be back very soon. It is a command. Quickly he took some little thing from the table and for a moment thought where to put it. When he found the right place for it, he opened the door of his cabinet and ran out. His face was hard and his eyes were bright. As soon as he ran up to the great gates, he shouted to the soldier, Open, open the gates! The soldier who took him for Tom did it very quickly and gave the prince such a hard blow that Edward fell onto the ground. "Take that, you beggar," shouted the soldier. "It was because of you that His Highness got angry at me." "You shall be hanged, ты будешь повешен. You have laid your hand upon me, ты поднял руку на меня. Be off, вон отсюда." The crowd that stood near the gates laughed loudly. The prince got up from the ground, jumped up to the soldier, and shouted angrily, "I am the Prince of Wales. You shall be hanged for what you have just done. You have laid your hand upon me." The soldier saluted him and said mockingly, "I salute your royal highness." Then angrily, "Be off, you mad beggar." Here the crowd around the poor little prince laughed again, and pulled and pushed him away from the gates of the palace with loud cries, "Way for His Royal Highness! Way for the Prince of Wales!"